I love the dramatic.
Yes, that is the fastest I've been able to like move my cursor from the video clip to the go live to the go live. I don't realize, but like everyone's been missing out on the first 2 seconds of the video clip because my mouse is getting old and decrepit. Anyway, welcome. My name is Margaret Bernard. Welcome to my channel. I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author, and we are hosting Fireside Chats all during August. So grab a s'more and stay a while. I'm welcoming lovely creative guests every weekday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So today I have the lovely Cynthia of Book Whimsy. So Cynthia, hello, welcome, and tell us about your channel.
Hi everyone. So I'm a book reviewer and I read a little bit of everything. People seem to like my historical reviews, so I try to bring in my knowledge as a historian into my reviews and try to not be too snobby about it. But yeah, you'll find me reading romance, classics, a lot of nonfiction too. So a little bit of everything in my channel.
Awesome. Does anyone want to know your opinion lately on the movie that's about to come out? Because you did a Napoleon-themed video just recently, so I'm like wondering, are you a Joaquin Phoenix fan?
I'm not. I'm actually not, but I am going to watch the movie and I'm going to pick it apart, as every historian I think will.
Nice.
It's going to be tricky because a lot of people really love Napoleon. There's a lot of Napoleon fans out there, and there's a different perspective, I think, within the public versus what historians think of Napoleon. I think there's he's not quite as great as everyone makes him out to be.
Which is interesting because I wouldn't have thought that people had a positive.
He was a dictator.
Right, like madman ran across Europe. Maybe I have like the more Anglo-centric view, which is that he was terrorizing Europe in the 19th century. And maybe that's why I don't have a positive view. Maybe you're interacting more with like the French folks who are like, yes, our great man of history, and he did so much. You're like, no.
But a lot of American men in particular really love Napoleon, because I've had students in my classes who take my French Revolution and Napoleon class, and they want to talk about how great Napoleon is, and they're definitely in the wrong class for that.
Here's my red flag to wave. Like, come on, American men.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Because even like his best areas, I'm gonna get in trouble, but it's true. Like even in his best areas, the thing that most people cite as like what makes him great is he won a lot of battles. Like he won some key battles and he was able to expand. Even at that, he was not that great.
Okay. The only other like little key data point that I would say I've learned about Napoleon is a Napoleonic Code, which is, I believe, something that put into the law in France like gender disparities for hundreds of years, and so that's nothing to thank him for either. So
exactly, and in fact, it's thanks to him because as he was conquering lands, he brought with him the code. So it's actually a lot of laws all over Europe are based on those laws, and so include a lot of like limited rights for women and for people of color.
Delightful. I can't wait to watch a movie glorifying him and his internal struggles. I want to say hi to people in the chat. Hello, Felicia. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I loved how you put hearts on like my oldest videos, literally from 2014. I love it. Anita saying hello, and Cool Gamer, and Jennifer Brown. Yay! So, Booktube crowd tonight. As you know, I usually offer my guests a choice of like, what do you want to work on for our creative exercise? Cynthia, what did you choose, and what are you going to be acting on?
I choose reading sprints because I'm behind on a buddy read. And so the book I'm going to be reading is Signal to Noise by Celia Moreno Garcia, who is one of my favorite writers, period, because most of her books, all of her books are set in Mexico. And And this was the first one she ever published. So I've read almost everything she's written, all of her full-length books for sure, except this one. So I'm like, I need to read more than the few pages I've read.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I've got a whole pile. We were discussing just before we went live the positive side, the upside of reading many books at once, because you can draw it out if you're having a really good read. And I would say, and I posted this in my Facebook group today, I, on the other hand, have a lot of meh reads that I'm just not gripped by right now. So my Libro.fm audiobook is Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. And it's okay. It's good, but it's like slow rolling. Okay. I've got this for Wit Month, my final read probably in the last week of Women in Translation Month. It's Disoriental by Negar Javadi. That is disorienting to read, as well as the experience that she's writing about being a displaced Persian French family. I've got this that I'm finally sort of getting into. Started early, Took My Dog by Kate Atkinson. And the one I don't need help sitting down to read is Babel by R.F. Kuang. So we're going to hold that aside as like my reward read. And I think I'm going to dive into the French one because this is something Cynthia and I have in common. So it's very exciting.
And Lincoln says hi. He's feeling needy because I've been ignoring him all day.
Yes. Tell us, do the dogs make regular cameos on your channel? And is that a reason why people should subscribe and watch all of these videos?
They do, and it's been requested that they need to make more appearances. So I will give the people what they want. This one, Lincoln, he's the one who's more needy. He's the boy. I'm like, oh, typical boys. Because my girl, Ladybird, she's in the background. You can see her.
Yes.
If you can always spot her in the background in my videos, because she's such a good girl. She just is like, okay, mom's on the computer, and I'm gonna go sit.
Right. It's like well-earned rest. Yes.
Yes. Nice. Whereas this one, from time to time, he's like, no, I need attention. Give it to me now.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, my little's just here on the couch. He's currently in one of those positions where he's like this, and his back legs are all the way up in front of his face, which is cute. Again, cute pose number 59 of the day. We're both making it through the little heat wave that is in Portland right now. So
yeah, but they sure do know how to be cute.
Yeah.
These animals.
I have it on the good authority of your other social media that you were just at a really cool event, and I feel like this is one that I need to both introduce my audience to, and the fact that there are such things as reader conventions, because I don't think that's generally known, and also like get myself a ticket for the next one. Tell us about Steamy LitCon.
Yeah, I have the shirt, but the dog's blocking it. But this was my first ever book convention, and it was put on by the Steam Box, who they do monthly subscription boxes, or no, quarterly subscription boxes.
Oh, box. I thought you said bots.
Oh, no, box. Sorry.
Box. Okay.
For promoting diverse romances.
Nice.
And so they put on, this was their first convention. So it was celebrating diverse romances and writers. So they had panels and then book signings. So there was all these authors sitting at tables and signing your books. And I had so much fun meeting all these authors. And
pictures, the stacks are legendary. Oh my goodness. I was like, oh, just drooling.
And the thing for me was some of these authors are based on the East Coast, so they very rarely come to the West Coast to do signings or book events. So some of them are, some of my favorite writers, and I had never gotten a chance to meet them or to hear, hear them live, and they were all there in the same room. So
sure it was deafening. Everyone was like giggling at a high energy, like, oh my gosh.
Very high energy. It was very hot because it's like this convention room, but it's like everybody packed in. It was like, it's hot. But everybody was so nice. what I heard from other people, since I'd never done a book event before, was that this one was very friendly, very like especially good for anybody that was going on their own. Like I went by myself, so I was not there with any other friends or anything. I recognized some people from their social medias, and so. But it was also really comfortable, for example, at like lunch or breakfast, to just go up to a table and be like, "Hey guys, can I sit here?" And everybody was like, "Yes, please." And it felt very friendly and welcoming.
Inclusive. That's so nice.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I haven't been to a conference for anything for a really long time. So like, it's nice. It sounds
Yeah, that was the same thing for me. So it was nice to see people and then to see like fabulous book people.
Yes. So take heart, authors. There's people out there who want to read your books. Ellen is here. She liked my choice of book read for today. Kat is here. Hello. Hello. She says, happy weekend. Excellent. Well, I had a couple other questions, but I think I'm going to save them for our break in between. You ready for our first sprint?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Andy's here. Hello, hello. Let me line up our timer bar here. Okay, so 11, 12, 22, 27. Math. And line up our crackling fire and get our right little layout here. Okay, so there we go. So give us a holler about what you're reading during this reading sprint so that we can all, I don't know, if you like the read, maybe it'll turn into a recommendation. Otherwise, we'll just like read in solidarity. But yeah, I'll go ahead and mute myself and jump in.
That's good.
Okay, that was our perfectly timed with this 15-minute timer for the fireplace. Excellent. All right. Welcome back. How'd the reading go?
Really well. People will sometimes tell me that I'm such a fast reader, but if anybody was paying attention, I'm not a very fast reader. I just carve out a lot of time for it. Yeah, but this was a really nice section. She had her main character returning to Mexico City, and so she was describing like things at the store, the music, and it's the reasons I love Silvio Moreno Garcia.
So this is growing on me. I'll say the parts I don't appreciate. So you get a few pages explaining a scene, and then you get, before I go any further, let me explain to you, with the help of a flashback, where this hate came from. And I'm just like, that's like the structural part that I'm having issues with. But there's really neat, like, musing language, even in the English translation, that is about meta sort of topics. So there's one part where it's comparing the Iranian need to have small talk and never have silence, and anything that is human voice is silence, even the blaring of a horn. And I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
And comparing it to the French. And the narrator says, the talkative, sociable child I used to be has turned into a Parisian adult with a face that closes off whenever I leave the house. I have become, as I'm sure everyone does who has left his or her country, someone else. Someone who has translated myself into other cultural codes. I was like, ooh, okay, I'm all right. I'll keep reading.
So real, so real. Whenever I read anything by somebody who's migrated somewhere else, I always feel like, yes, you understand. It's such a similar experience.
Yeah, the outsider and like being understood is so important to us social creatures. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and this one I was really struck by, like, again, I love all her Mexican references, but like Silvia Garcia likes to evoke a lot of Mexican music in her books. And so whenever I see it, I'm like, I know who that is. I know who that is. And sometimes she'll do a playlist for her books. And,
oh, nice. Yeah.
So I'm going to look up. I bet this one has a playlist, or should have a playlist, because this one's all about music. And she's describing all the music from my youth. And I'm like, this book is set in the 80s, but it was still the music like I listened to in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Just use Spotify to make her playlist. I've heard people doing that.
Yeah, for the last couple of books she released playlists on Spotify. I'm just wondering, since this was the first book she published, if she ever went back and did a playlist for it. I hope so.
Someone is agreeing with you here. Kat says, fantastic playlist for Mexican Gothic. Yep. Very good. Anita says, finally checking out the Science Fictionary during the sprint. Ooh, what is that? Is that a website? Sounds like a writer kind of crafty website. That sounds cool. Shannon came in and said hello, and still working on AWC stuff. So that's AuthorTube Writing Conference. And in case you don't know, authors on YouTube, there's a conference for us. And Shannon is the brain mother, since there's a brainchild. I've never heard someone use the word brain mother, but brain mother. And our first official announcement live is tomorrow at 10 a.m. West Coast, noon Central, in case you are interested. One more important email to send out. Yes. And Leslie's here. Hello, lovely people. Thank you. It's a Booktube contingent. It did say what you're reading. So if anyone is reading along with us, let me know in the chat if I should switch or what. But one of the other questions I had, and I know you have a full-time job and a household and like other things, but I wanted to ask if you'd ever thought about starting a readathon and like hosting one. And if you hadn't, if you did, what would it be? There we go. Conditional.
Yeah.
Do this.
I'm always thinking about starting a readathon. And I guess I'm kind of lazy, because I look at everything people do for readathons and I'm just like, that's a lot of work.
You can just throw it out there. That's what I did for September. I'm just reading status books. Let's do it.
That's true. I mean, maybe I should just do that, because I know for Latin Heritage Month, there's several things going on, but the booktubers that used to put together like an official readathon didn't do that in the last couple of years, probably because of the pandemic and everybody being overwhelmed and things like that. But I should check with them and see if they're doing anything this year, because if not, I feel like you can't have too much of promoting diverse books and writers online. But it would be that, or it would be like something related to, usually it's like something I'm watching on television that I'm like, it would be fun to do a readathon like based on those characters or that show.
Oh, okay. Are you watching anything good now? Pulling that up?
No, but nothing good. But I've been rewatching The Simpsons.
Oh,
And I'm like, I connected so much to Lisa Simpson when I was a kid. And I'm like, she's a reader and a nerd. And I was like, oh, it'd be so much fun to like read books based on her personality, or like be like,
oh,
what books are more Homer like or Bart like?
yeah. That's funny. Okay, so I don't know that I've mentioned The Simpsons on my channel ever, but that's 2 mentions in 1 week, because Malia on Tuesday was my creative guest who was talking about being an adult ADHD life coach, and how when she was in school, she was very goal oriented because she's a people pleaser. And so when she graduated school, was out in the world, she was like, where are the tests? Where's the homework? Who's going to give me an A? And she referenced the Lisa Simpson of like, school was out. She needed to go to her mom and like have her write an A on something. Oh boy.
And that was so true. I must have joined a little late because I joined that, but I didn't hear that because I'm like, oh, that feels so real. It's true. I excelled at school stuff where like there was a clear metric to like reach, and then life doesn't have that, and it always feels a little bit like you're lost when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm always looking for an anchor, and I feel like there's some truth to finding it in yourself, but there's also like a circular feeling to that of like you feel settled and grounded in yourself and capable, but then you go through something else and then you question it again. And so like for me at least, there's this endless cycle of, am I okay? Am I not okay? I'm okay. I'm not okay. Great. It's just great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, I've always struggled, well, most recently, I think, is with like, I'm happy, but happiness doesn't mean everything's great. Like all these other things are happening in my life that I'm like, yeah, not so great. I've been doing this or that other thing. I'm like, but I'm pretty happy. Like I should accept that. I'm like, I'm waiting for like something terrible to happen. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Something terrible could happen and you can still be happy.
Yeah. Still be like grateful for being alive in the world you're in. I like that. Kat saying Mexican Gothic is also a fantastic book.
So
Loved it. Science Fictionary is a book, a dictionary of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror stuff.
Ooh.
That sounds perfect. Nice. And Shannon says, I am reading a book, just not at the moment. Fluff reading. Alien Captive, a sci-fi warrior romance by Lee Savino and Golden Angel. That is an author's name? Golden Angel? Or that's another book you're reading? Commas are important. Or semicolons, or I don't know what would be used there.
That sounds really cool, though. I've in the last few years, I've gotten really into sci-fi and also weird like sci-fi romance. Which I found like it's so weird, but
yes,
it works. That's all.
It's the author name, Golden Angel. Well, that's interesting. Okay.
An angel, 2 authors, huh?
Yeah, the Alien Captive makes me think of Ice Planet Barbarians. Have you gotten into that like subgenre to explore at all, or have you stayed?
Oh, I've explored. You gotta explore. The Barbarian Alien series I generally like, but it's full of like things that are just not for everybody. But I tend to give books like that like a lot of breadth of like you can do a lot. You're experimenting with a lot of things.
Yeah. So I haven't broken into a monster romance yet, but I'm like giving it the side eye of maybe, I don't know, I should give it a chance. I'll probably enjoy it and like laugh a lot, right? And so I had to explain, you know, J.D. Estrada, writer, he's author too, not really booktube, but he's been working on a translation of his own book, and like he's great, but he had not heard of the like TikTok sound I was referencing. So I went to look it up, and I found, let me describe the scene to you. The sound is don't do it, girl. I'm not gonna do it. I was just thinking about it. Crash. I did it. Someone had shared this with like a scan of the bookstore of like TikTok books and, you know, like monster romance favorites, and like focused on Ice Planet Barbarians. And then the crash was them in their car with like, I bought the book. Perfect.
If I were sitting in the other room, I would pull out my copy of the first book.
Oh man. And I just had someone who is the Dog-Eared Book is a bookstore in upstate New York, and the bookstore owner, is on TikTok, and she's really great. And she just had a TikTok that was about, I'm just gonna do something that's gonna discredit me with all of my readers, but that's fine. And she pulled up Morning Glory Milking Farm, which I heard about from oh gosh, now I'm blanking on her channel name, from out in Japan, the translator, medical translator. You know who I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll put it in the notes afterwards because my mind is blanking on it. But he has like a pen name with a K in it.
Cossin.
Huh?
Are you talking about Cossin?
Yes, Always Doing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and she's the one who alerted me to that book. So she's got like vast and eclectic tastes as well. So yeah.
So the author of Morning Glory Milking Farm was at the Steamy Lit Con.
Of course, nice.
And I got to have her sign my copy of it. But you should have seen, I was in line because she had a line. So they started wristbanding people so that you wouldn't just block that whole area. When I was in line, it was finally my turn. The people all around me were looking at my copy like, you have the original cover. And I was like, and they were like, I'll trade you for the new one. And I was just like, stay away from me, everybody. I am nobody look at me. This is my copy of it.
Oh my God. The intrigue, the jockeying for position.
And I didn't know that this was a coveted cover. I guess you can't find it anymore, but I'm not letting go of it. It's now signed.
As many people have said by now, book collecting is a different hobby from book reading. So they're both great, just different things.
Yeah. I was afraid. And then the author was like, oh, you have the old cover. And I was like, shh, they're trying to get it.
Yeah. Rebecca Thorne just changed her covers for her Tea and Treason series. And so she was very like broadcasting, I'm going to change the covers. This is the last time you can order them. And I'm sure she got a sales bump for that because people are crazy about covers for some reason.
Especially once you announce you will never find these again. We're like,
right.
Jump on it.
That gives me the feel of, though, is like whatever is in my Facebook and Instagram feed. It is with heavy heart that I announce the closing of my jewelry store and collection of these sad silver hearts that you will never find anywhere else. And I'm like, get out of my feed. Like, I don't know you. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, this is true.
Kat says the books I'm reading this weekend are Diminishing Returns by E.L. Withers for Garb August. All right. And The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. FOMO Book Club Summer Book Bingo. Nice.
I love The Song of Achilles. I actually got to teach that book in my history class.
What?
It was a
what was the?
It was classical civilizations in the modern era, something like that. So since I do more modern history, I was like, let's read. We read the Iliad. And then I gave them a project of reading a reinterpretation of it to see how a modern take on it. And so,
and a woman's point of view. Yes. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Shannon said, yes, the mail has extra appendages down there, all geared toward her pleasure, but interesting imagination and thinking of these things. Yes. What's funny is when you get other content creators that are like, doing just funny things. I don't know. Could this be a new monster romance, like inspired by the jellyfish or whatever? And you're like,
my thinking is always, I bet someone's written it. Let's look it up.
Probably. I mean, Kindle Unlimited. I'm just saying. I am not part of the KU crowd or Amazon Prime universe, but for those who are in it, Deidre is here. Deidre writes romance. Peter, do you have a book that was just out in the last couple weeks? If you do, feel free to pop your link in the chat because Cynthia is a diverse reader and, sympathetic audience. Oh, here we go. You need to be made a moderator. Let me do that. There we go. Like magic. Thank you for smashing the like button. Yes, Deidre says there's music here. It's a whole mood. Yes, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging. I choose different hold music. It's basically what it is for when we're sprinting, depending on the guest. This is called Ice and Fire, and it's got like a little, I don't know, like a little nice romance beat, I felt. So,
well, I'm going to go right now and subscribe to Deidre's channel.
yeah.
Especially because of the convention I was just at. I feel like I'm in the mood for give me all the new authors I've never heard of.
Oh, okay. Let me find, I think the one that's just out today is from our friends Desleray. So that is a single name for two of our friends who are writing together.
Oh.
And the first one that comes up is Book Club. So that is what is going in the chat. And I have read one of their short stories, and it's called Bookish About Love, I think. And it was delightful. So.
Oh, very nice.
July. All right. Oh, okay. July feels like yesterday, Deidre. So yeah, there you go. And another one coming in September. Fast. That is fast.
Yeah.
Right. Are we ready for our second sprint? We've got about 15 minutes, so we'll go over a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by like chat. I was like
writing. Yes. And Shannon is fantasy romance. And yeah, she's coming out with her first fantasy romance trilogy that she put on Kickstarter. It's very exciting. And her previous novels are like more historical based fantasy of like the Fae Ireland stuff.
Ooh. Also love. I'm like, oh, all of this is up my alley.
Okay, let me go back and get my timer. Kinky ass timer ready. So 45. We're going to 00. That is easy math.
Okay.
And fire. There we go. And I will mute myself and see you again in 15 minutes. Okay, there we go. We're back. We're back. There's the timer. Look at that. Like I meant it to. Amazing.
Yeah. That's perfect.
How'd it go?
It went well. I found a word I had never seen before in my life, and I have no clue what it means. But saccharin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yes.
But
it's sugary from saccharides or polysaccharides, whatever.
Oh.
It's very sweet, cloyingly sweet.
Oh, that makes sense. She was talking about a famous pop singer in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it.
Nice.
Which, don't forget the words.
Yes. See, I almost did it once. I'm making every mistake once with this series. Okay, so what is your favorite word, at least for today? Let's take a break.
This is actually my favorite word, pantufla.
And French. Tell us what it means.
It's French for slippers, which is the same word for slippers that is in Spanish. So when I first heard it, I was like, pantufla, but with like a little French accent at the end. It's perfect.
Yes. And what word came close to this earlier this week that I went?
Oh, the poetry word, which I don't remember.
Yeah. Yes. Excellent. And then I had a different word for today. So in case Kat is listening, it's not an L word. It's desultory. Came up with that earlier today, and I thought, can I make that an adverb? Yes. Turns out you can. It sounds really weird, but it's a fun word. So desultory. And that just means like doing something in a non-intentional sort of like lopsided, don't care about it way.
See, all these new words. I'm like catching all the lives in me was like, ooh, I never heard of that one. Let me write that down.
There's some weird ones. There's some good ones. And the purpose of each guest sharing their favorite word is that there is a secret giveaway for people who are watching. I'm not advertising it, except if you watch. So it's a Bookish Mail giveaway. If you're in the US, I will send you a complete box package of books and book stuff. If you're elsewhere, I will still send you a package, but it will be a large envelope because that is more affordable. So if you remember the word and after the live stream, pop it down as a comment below the video, that earns you an entry. You can do as many comments as you like and increase your chances. It's pretty good right now. I think we have 17 entries. So secret word away and increase your chances. It should be fun. We will draw during the last Fireside Chat in August, on August 31st. So
very good. It'll be a party.
Yeah, party. Let's go back and catch up with the chat. Deidre says, I'm on stream with Barrett, so going back and forth. And that is called stream hopping. So I said stream hoppers is what Mama Maggie likes to say. And I just looked. That's why I was looking at the tab earlier. They're doing a romance prompt thing. So I was like, what? It might be the romance writers room that is being organized, which is pretty cool. So nice. Too sweet. Oh, and Anita learned a new term, cozy catastrophe, which I'm assuming is a subgenre of cozy, like cozy mystery, cozy fantasy. And speaking of cozy and Anita, my guest tomorrow night is a cozy fantasy writer, and we were having a discussion about the cozy genre. So, and I met her on Anita's historical fantasy panel, which was awesome. So Olivia Atwater will be the guest on Monday. So if you've read Half a Soul, if you've heard about cozy fantasy and this fun genre, check us out on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Shannon was reminding us, don't forget the words and don't die. Do you know about Alexis Nicole, the Black Forager? She's on Instagram. She's basically doing educational tutorials on social media for foraging. And, also like crossing with racism and other educational things. He's amazing. And she ends most of her videos with happy snacking, don't die. And so I've referenced it several times. Happy reading, don't die.
I saw you referencing it and I was like, it's good advice. Always good advice. Don't die.
Anita's letting us know. It is a genre term where there's a world-ending event, but the surviving society thrives. A sort of cozy apocalypse. Oh, I love it.
I need that in my life.
I
like, that's awesome.
Carefully select your apocalypse delivery mechanism so that only the right survive. I'm guessing that's how it happens. Yay! Anita says yay for Olivia Atwater. Very cool. That would feel surreal. Yeah. Cozy apocalypse. And yes, always good advice. All right. Well, we're just a little bit over, which is perfect. I've given you the favorite words to enter down in the comments once we finish our live stream. Is there anything else that I forgot? I'm going to pop the next guest live stream link in the chat. And
thank you, because this has been so much fun, and it's fun, all the lives I've been able to catch, and everybody in the chat being so lovely. So
yay!
I'm so glad.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on. I am honored that this is your first StreamYard experience. I'm sure it won't be your last because it's very fun, and you're great as a guest. So I'm sure maybe a readathon lurks in your future.
Well, you've got me thinking.
If that's your vibe, contact Cynthia at Book Whimsy on YouTube. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope you have a lovely night and a weekend. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at the next Fireside Chat or maybe AWC Talk tomorrow. Okay. Bye.